Hello everybody and welcome back to Mounties Midweek. I'm Drew Patrick. On today's show, we officially meet the new Mansfield University Director of Athletics and talk with men's basketball assistant coach Seth Turner. On Tuesday, February 5th, Peggy Carl was officially welcomed in as Director of Athletics at Mansfield University. Here were some of the best moments.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm humbled, honored, and truly excited to be standing in front of you all here today as Mansfield University's next Director of Athletics. Thank you to President Fackler, to Vice President Catherine Crossan, and the search committee for offering me this really terrific opportunity. I also want to thank Chris Decker and Andy Shallett for managing the department in the interim. I've spent my adult life involved in intercollegiate athletics in one form or another, and with all due respect to anybody else, I know that it's the greatest profession going. We have the opportunity to build character in our young people, push them to be physically, emotionally, and intellectually strong, and watch as they grow into the alumni we hold dear. The athletic department staff at Mansfield University is among the very best. Their knowledge of the game, ability to create programming that supports the mission of the university, as well as the NCAA Division II, and sheer love of their profession will make this an opportunity, one that I know I will cherish for years to come. I've only been on campus for a week, but I will say that I'm so encouraged by the degree to which everyone seems to be pulling on the same end of the rope as it regards our student athletes. This is an incredibly exciting time for Mansfield, and as we move the department forward, it will be a collaborative process, one in which all voices will be heard. We will be student-athlete focused and mission-driven. We will be inclusive, and we will do our business with a high degree of integrity. To quote from the department's mission statement, we will promote leadership development through character, scholarship, cultural awareness, and service to others. And we will provide an environment conducive to reaching a high level of athletic achievement and academic achievement that will further translate into strong, lifetime core values and character traits for future success. This, quote, life in the balance approach, as outlined by the NCAA Division II philosophy statement, will be our roadmap. I know we have hard work to do, but we have amazing people to do that work, each one dedicated in his or her own way to the Mansfield University student-athlete experience and all that that entails. I cannot wait to roll up my sleeves and get to that work and know that I am surrounded from top to bottom and all around by people who want us to succeed. As I was searching the university's website, both as preparation for my formal on-campus interview and as I've been learning more about the inner workings of the university, I continue to be struck by the main site's admonition to learn to dream big. What a positive and inspiring message to drive us forward into the future. As we prepare to set our sights on the future of Mountaineer athletics, advocating for and providing truly inspiring and meaningful opportunities for our student athletes, I'm energized, hopeful, and excited to work with you all to achieve the greatness that I know Mansfield University athletics can aspire to. Thanks so much.
The Mansfield University track and field teams continued their season at Youngstown State National Mid-Major Invitational on Friday and Saturday. The Mountaineer athletes compiled 10 new PRs and 5 PSAC marks. On Friday night, Aaron Sheridan got things going with a PR in the pole vault with a 311-meter vault, and Bryce Steiner had a 5.83-meter PR in the long jump. Saturday, more great PRs. Alyssa Davy-Bostic with a career-best 1.51 meters in the high jump. Senior Ayla Roll had a best 6-minute 21-second mile time. Jordan Holmes and Travis Keefe also had PRs in the mile with times of 4 minutes 38 and 4 minutes 39 respectively. Mamadou Diallo set 2 new PRs on the day, the first one coming in the 200 with a best time of 23:54 and in the 400 with a time of 51:99, the latter being a PSAC qualifying mark. Quincy Amabile and Ryan Clifford had great 3,000-meter races, both hitting PSAC qualifying marks and PRs. Amabile smoked his previous best finish with a time of 8 minutes 39:80, besting his time by almost 10 seconds. That finish was also the 4th fastest in program history. Other PSAC marks included Kenzie Jones in the mile run with a time of 5:12 and Nicholas Ockenbaugh with a 400-meter dash time of 50:51. Mansfield will look to continue the success at the David Henry Valentine's Invitational hosted by Boston University Friday, February 9th. Quincy Amabile earned PSAC Track Athlete of the Week after a stellar performance this past weekend. Amabile is the second Mountaineer to claim the Track Athlete of the Week recognition this indoor season, after Ryan Clifford claimed the honor 2 weeks ago. The women's basketball team had 2 matches this past week. They traveled to Cheyney University on Wednesday. It was a career day for the Mountaineer forwards as Ellie Thompson and Mia Leonard were dominant down low. Leonard had a career-high 19 points to go along with 14 rebounds, and Thompson had 17 points and making a career-high 8 shots and also having a career-high in steals. Mansfield won the game 62-52. Mansfield then welcomed Millersville to Decker Gymnasium on Saturday. At the half, the score was close, but the Marauders pulled away in the second half, outscoring the Mounties 38-20. Millersville took the game by a final score of 74-47. The team hits the hardwood again on Wednesday as Lock Haven comes into town. The men's basketball team had 2 matches this past week. Saturday, the Mountaineers hosted Millersville. Taylor Sweeney, Tyler Moff, and Garrett Cook combined for 56 points, but the Marauders got the win in that one. They then hosted non-conference foe Roberts Wesleyan on Monday. The Mounties struck early as the 3-ball got going. Garrett Cook shot 5 for 7 on the day from beyond the arc. Later, Taylor Sweeney with the big shot. He had a team-high 18 points and 10 boards. But Eli Alvin, he stole the show here. He's taken on 4 defenders and after a missed free throw, able to do this.
4-on-1.
And again! Alvin had a career-high 17 points to go along with 8 rebounds and 5 assists. The Mounties get the win by a score of 75-65, and the Mountaineers return to action this Wednesday as they host the Bald Eagles of Lock Haven. Mansfield University softball was picked to finish 4th in the PSAC Central Division in voting conducted amongst conference head coaches and released January 31st. The top 3 teams in each division claim berths into the PSAC tournament. Mansfield returns 15 student athletes from last year's team that finished 5th in the Central Division with a 7-13 record. The Mountaineers bring back 5 players who batted .300 or better a year ago, led by All-PSAC selection Joel Snyder, who posted a .346 average as a freshman, and Allie McGovern, the 2017 PSAC Central Freshman of the Year. Head coach Edith Gallagher enters her 28th season guiding the Mountaineers, brought in a class of 8 student athletes to join the veterans. Mansfield opens the 2019 campaign on February 23rd against Westchester in North Carolina. Now let's take a look at what else is coming up this week for Mountaineer Athletics. Do not go anywhere. Much more Mounties Midweek is on the other side.
From court to court and lane to lane, under the lights or under the sun, no one delivers Division II sports like NCAA.com. The center of D2 is inside the NCAA.com hub with exclusive highlights of every sport and live broadcasts of every Division II championship found nowhere else. Make NCAA.com yours, the home of Division II college sports.
It's a small community, close-knit, it's beautiful. Now, as we join UPMC, it just opens a whole new world.
Together, UPMC and Susquehanna Health are bringing life-changing medicine to North Central Pennsylvania.
UPMC brings extraordinary innovation to virtually every aspect of the work we do.
Exchanging ideas, sharing research, it's a tremendous opportunity to learn in real time with world-class experts.
Changing lives every day. UPMC Susquehanna.
Welcome back here to Mounties Midweek. I have the pleasure now of being joined by the new Director of Athletics here at Mansfield University, Peggy Carl. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
So this process to get this job, it was a long process. What were the things that really drew you to Mansfield University?
Sure, I think the opportunity to be a part of something that I knew was new and changing, the opportunity to work again at a smaller institution. I sort of realized that my time at Salem, that a student body of 7,500 was probably a little bigger than was comfortable for me. So the opportunity to really be involved in the day-to-day goings-on of all of our student athletes and have a better relationship with them and our coaches, and an opportunity to work in Division II was really exciting too.
How important is that, the fact that you have a staff and you can get to know these athletes? How does that make your job easier?
I don't know if it makes my job any easier, but it makes my job much more fun. It makes my job much more satisfying. I derive a great deal of pleasure. One of the things that people ask you when you stop coaching and you go into administration is, how do you miss coaching? And my answer has always been, no, I don't miss coaching, because the parts of coaching that I enjoyed the most were, one, the relationships that I had with my student athletes, which I now get to have more of, and the thing that sort of happens when you get your student athletes to do something that they didn't think they could do, and that sort of realization when they can do that thing, they sort of stand back and sort of think, oh, holy cow, I just did that. I can now do with staff. And so it's a different kind of coaching. So for me, the relationships is why you do the job.
And based on those relationships, let's talk about some of your prior experiences.
Sure.
The relationships you built at all your stops along your career, how have they helped you moving on into this position here?
I think they've really helped me understand the value of that, right? I mean, I think certainly when you spend 18 years any place, you really get to know everybody, particularly when it's a student body of 1,600 students and a smaller staff. You really enjoy the benefits of that one-to-one relationship. But I think more importantly, what those relationships have taught me is that it's okay to disagree. It's okay for us to not think the same about everything. It's okay for us to have different opinions. And in fact, in lots of cases, that's what helps us grow. And that's what helps us move forward, is that banter, that back and forth, that, well, I don't think we ought to do it this way. And so my roundabout answer is it's helped me have a more open mind. It's helped me understand that there are more points of view than maybe just my own. And it's helped me really understand each person's value and where they're coming from.
And so the challenges of that, though, especially in the current world that we live in, where it's just a lot of angry back and forth, how do you go and approach that? If you see, say, two coaches arguing about something, how do you go and be the mediator in that situation?
Well, a lot of my job is frankly mentoring. And so helping coaches understand that, while coaching is a little bit running your own little small business, athletic directing is running a slightly larger small business. And so helping people understand that we're all on the same team and that we actually are all pulling on the same end of the rope being the benefit to our student athletes, right? And so just really reminding coaches that that's who we're working for. It's not really about you, it's about them. And so helping people understand that providing the best possible experience for our student athletes is really, it's the only thing. And age and wisdom have taught me that, you do actually catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. And so, I've really softened is probably the right word over time, and have really come to appreciate that a dose of niceness and kindness will almost always win the day. And so hopefully I can impart that to everybody on staff as well.
Was that an easy switch to go and realize, all right, I got to take a step back here and do it? Or was that something that just came naturally?
I think it was something that came naturally because it really evolved over time. And, it wasn't like one day I just sort of woke up and went, okay, I'm doing this wrong. I think it's something that happens when you spend a lot of time in a profession. You figure out what works and you figure out what doesn't work, and clearly having an opportunity to work with people works for me. And having, and people always say, oh, I'm looking forward to working for you, and I try to correct them and say, well, I'm hopeful that we're going to work with each other. I don't really, I have the title of director, but I really want everybody's opinions. I mean, you were at our first staff meeting.
Absolutely.
We were set up like a classroom, and that's, I don't want to be the talking head. I want us all to be involved in the conversation. And so for me, it gives me more information. It allows people on staff to have a more clear voice in whatever it is we're discussing, and I think it just works better.
That community base of this is a great place really to do that. Mansfield is very much a community oriented. So what are really your goals to connect to the community, to have not only the university really stand out and the athletic department really stand out as a beacon of this community?
Well, I've started already. I had my first meeting yesterday. I'm really going to go and be intentional about sort of one-to-one meetings across campus with a whole variety of folks. To really listen to what it is they have to say, to listen to what they think about the athletic program. I'm really excited, frankly, to hear what our presidential candidates have to say on the subject, right? But to have an opportunity to meet with people not only on campus, but to meet with people in the community, and to, that's a little bit of a double-edged approach as well, right? Not only do I want to meet with them and elevate the profile of Mansfield athletics in this community, but I'm also going to be looking for sponsors and fundraising opportunities. And so that sort of friend-raising component to the fundraising initiatives is going to be really important for us.
And again, I mean, you mentioned the double-edged sword there, but in terms of fundraising in a small market like Mansfield is, what are the challenges for you and really for the department in a small market?
Well, the challenge is that there's only so many people you can ask, right? And at an institution like Mansfield that has a small number of students to begin with, there are fewer alumni. And so what happens is that not only are we athletics asking our alumni, but alumni relations is asking, and institutional advancement is asking. And so we go back to the same well numerous times. And so I have to be careful about working with folks in institutional advancement to make sure that we're not, we're not overly taxing
Yeah, you don't
our
want just the
alumni
constant calls,
constituency, right?
absolutely.
We've got to be thoughtful and really specific about what it is we're asking, whoever it is we're asking. The bummer about, not the bummer, the interesting part to athletics is that we are responsible for, arguably the most expensive real estate on campus, save maybe this space. And so it takes a lot to keep those facilities up to par, safe, nice looking, so that, when our community members do come to support us, they're not automatically turned off when they walk in the door. So there's some work to do.
Absolutely. So let's talk about some of your prior success.
Sure.
Very successful career as a swimming coach out in California. What was that experience like, and how has that helped from going, you touched on it briefly, but going from the coaching aspect to the administrative aspect?
My time coaching swimming, I spent 25 years as a head college swimming coach. I'll admit that when I started, I probably didn't know really what I was doing. I was a former swimmer, and so maybe that's what gave me the right to be a coach. But it really evolved over time, and so learning about how to interact with our alumni, how to manage my budget, how to, fight for my facility in ways that nobody else would listen to, how to recruit talented students and athletes, how to, all sort of the different parts. And so all of those parts really played a role in developing me as an administrator. I also happened to have some really great mentors when I started out as an assistant athletic director while I was coaching, and they sort of pushed me to do things that maybe I wasn't ready for and maybe was a little bit out of my comfort zone. And so having those opportunities, I felt really prepared me to then go out and be a director. The piece of coaching that I think I really have kept is the continual pursuit of excellence. This notion that great students and great athletes can't coexist in the same human is a complete fallacy. I mean, I know this to be true. And so anytime anybody tells me, well, I can't get a good team because they can't get in, maybe, I don't know, you're just not looking hard enough, right? I mean, so I think those people are out there, and there will be students who want a smaller, more personal education that Mansfield offers that maybe some of our conference competitors can't offer. And so it's that pursuit of excellence that I think is still lives in the back of my coaching brain. Yeah.
I've always said too, I think swimmers are some of the best people with time management, especially when sometimes you got to get in the pool at 5 a.m. so you can get it and then go to classes. So how has that aspect helped, especially being a swimmer and then coaching the swim team in the time management aspect? Sure.
I mean, it really has taught me that being prepared supersedes almost everything. You know this, right? I mean, I asked you last night what it was we were going to talk about so that I could be prepared for this morning. And so that level of preparation really is critical for me to be successful because it gives me confidence.
Absolutely.
And so for me, it probably is a function of my prior life as a swimmer. And I'll admit I was a distance swimmer, so that's probably even more ingrained in me. I like things the way I like them, and that is a function of hours and hours and hours and hours of what we refer to as chasing the black line. So there's no doubt that my swimming background has sort of formulated a lot of how I operate.
So the big question in your career, the Division III to Division II jump, how do you expect to prepare for that? And do you expect any sort of growing pains in that aspect?
Oh, sure. Of course there will be some growing pains, right? I mean, I would not have ever said that I knew it all in Division III, because I certainly don't. I think for me, the out of the comfort zone for the jump to Division II is the amount of time I spent in Division III is really, again, developing the relationships that I have with people not only at other Division III institutions, but also at the NCAA office. And now I don't have those relationships. I mean, I still have those relationships, but they're not the same. And so now I've got to develop new relationships, not only with people in the conference, but with people at the NCAA office, with other peers in the division. And so that will take me some time and certainly some growing pains. I think the other area of the Division II experience that I'll certainly need to lean on my assistant, Chris Decker, for is the area of compliance. It's a different animal altogether. The whole notion of scholarshiping and some of that part of compliance is definitely different. So yeah, of course there will be growing pains. I don't think they'll be painful, but you know, there will be things I will definitely need to learn.
Absolutely. And so now your first impressions here, your first couple of days here on Mansfield, we threw you to the fire on a couple of things, but what have been your impressions in your first couple of days here?
I will say hands down that everything I heard from when I was here interviewing to what people have told me sort of along the way about the quality of the people who are here is confirmed every time I turn the corner. The generosity of spirit, the generosity of time, the patience people have, the willingness to, yesterday I was walking down the mountain of steps to get to Manzer. And you know, I didn't know which, you know, I could either go right or I could go left, and I didn't know which way to go. And some poor student was coming up the steps, and I asked, and she said, "Oh, no, you go this way and I'll walk you." And I said, "No, you don't need to walk me." But, you know, so that level of willingness to help and willingness to, you know, be a part of something, I think is really the thing that stands out loudest to me about the institution.
So in this early and this first couple of months and maybe the first year as a whole, what are your early goals for the department?
I think my early goals revolve around learning what we're capable of and how to move those things forward. And so, you know, my first few months are going to be closing my mouth and opening my ears and listening to coaches talk to me about their vision for their particular program, other people on campus talking to me about what they think athletics can provide to the campus as a whole, listening hopefully to the president, vice president, provost, as they come on board to listen to what their vision for collegiate athletics is at the Division II level and how we can move those things forward. You know, there are some minor facility things that we can change relatively inexpensively. Clearly, fundraising is going to have to be something that we get after in a pretty early way. But again, I've got to sit and, you know, I'm going to take my foot off the gas pedal a little bit and really understand who, what, why, and how. So, you know, it's a time-consuming process, but we'll get there. And I think, you know, I wouldn't be an athletic director worth her salt if I didn't include some level of excellence into that answer, right? I mean, I think the goal will always be that our student athletes have the opportunity to be successful. And for me, that means winning more than you lose and having an opportunity to go to a conference tournament, hopefully having an opportunity to go to a regional or a national tournament. You know, it does not mean necessarily being the dynasty. You know, we don't need to be Shippensburg field hockey, but we need to be successful, and we need to teach our student athletes how to be successful. And in athletics, that is winning. So
Absolutely.
that's, you know, that's just the way that goes.
And I mean, you're in a unique position here, especially at this time right now at Mansfield with looking for a president. Do you think that's a challenge for you, the fact that you come in here with a little bit of a question mark at the top of the staff?
So
in terms of there being that question mark at the top, we're searching for the president, you come in and you want to get used to this university, but they're going to be in the same position that you are.
Sure.
Is that going to be a challenge for you?
I don't think so. You know, I think I would hope that whoever the regents or the Commonwealth selects as our next president has the gravitas understand what Mansfield University is and to understand what it is that we need, and has a vision to move the whole institution forward. And then within that vision, we can carve out our own athletic niche that not only serves the college's mission, the university's mission, but also moves us forward. And so I don't think that's going to be a challenge. I mean, people come and go. That's a fact. And whether it's coaches who come and go, or an athletic director who comes and goes, or provosts or faculty or the president, none of those people will stay forever. And so every time out of the box, it's an opportunity to learn something new. It's an opportunity to, take a close look at whatever it is you're doing, evaluate that and say, maybe we can do this slightly differently, and take a little bit of a jag over here. And so for me, I view it as an exciting opportunity. Frankly, I don't see it as a challenge.
All right, and then we'll get you out on this.
Sure.
So we talked about your short-term goals, and now the bigger picture. What are your ultimate goals for Mansfield University?
Well, I think they echo what we talked about before, right? That our student athletes have the opportunity to be successful, that our level of success in the PESC, the level of success at the NCAA level are increased, that our funding is increased so that our coaches are spending more time interacting with and developing student athletes and not necessarily fundraising, that maybe I take that all over and there's a more coordinated approach, that there's just some, that the entire program overall gets elevated in whatever way that means, right? And so whether it's more student athletes, it's increased funding, it's more success, it's improvements to facilities, it's, all of those things wrapped up in, with a nice big bow, that's probably, what I'm after in a really general way.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by here.
Thank you so much. It was a real pleasure. Appreciate it.
And Mounties Midweek will roll on after this. Do not go anywhere.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can, and then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play and learn. But most importantly, we're here to discover ourselves, our vision, our heart, our drive, to achieve every goal we aim for, because we want to be champions at the highest level, life. At Division II, the opportunities are here. Are you ready?
My path to a college degree would have been completely different had I not run Division II cross country for the University of Mount Olive. Having an athletic and academic scholarship was key for my success. Our coaches were really helpful with balancing out my academics and athletics. I decided to attend graduate school because I wanted to become an athletic director. Receiving the postgraduate scholarship through the NCAA provided me with the flexibility to choose the school that I wanted. So now I know that I can accomplish any goal that I set for myself.
It's all part of Mother Nature's perfect blend, the keystone of the Keystone State. Visit Potter Tioga, a 2-county scenic outdoor haven, conveniently located, yet worlds apart.
With 10 state parks, 2 federal parks, and over 400,000 acres of state forest land, outdoor recreation certainly does live here, offering hiking, biking, horseback riding, ATV trails, hunting, snowmobiling, cross-country skiing, and so much more.
Close to many urban areas, but far away from the hustle and bustle, you'll feel like you've found a hidden corner of the East Coast. where you can experience world-class, authentic outdoor adventure. Whether it's a family outing, a personal challenge, or even a leisurely walk, it all takes on a new perspective in these spectacular surroundings.
Follow our gurus through the Step Outdoor series at visitpottertioga.com and start planning your adventures today.
Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference.
Oh, what a play!
18 universities.
How competitive is this?
23 championships.
It's over. We have new PSAC champs.
7,100 student athletes. Make the PSAC yours.
My PSAC is passion.
My PSAC is pride.
PSAC is Pennsylvania.
Passion, pride, Pennsylvania. The Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference.
As I've gone through school, I've been trying to pay off my tuition as I go, and it wouldn't have been possible without the help of the Mansfield Foundation.
I mean, the Mansfield Foundation already helped me a lot. As of right now, I don't have any school debt whatsoever, and I know the Mansfield Foundation has definitely helped with all the scholarships that I've received over the years for that.
The Mansfield Foundation has helped me out several times throughout my college career. They have helped keep my finances intact.
If you have any sort of instincts, you can get a feel of good people and bad people. Like, the people at the foundation are as straightforward as they come.
Welcome back here to Mounties Midweek. Let's talk men's basketball as we're joined by assistant coach Seth Turner. Thank you so much for stopping by once again.
Thank you for having me.
So let's talk about this past week and really this 5-game homestand as a whole. Able to get a couple of non-conference wins, but how has this homestand really helped you guys?
It's been really good. We had a tough stretch, we had a good losing streak going, but we knew coming back on our home court, we could get things going. Some shots would fall our way. I mean, we're comfortable here. Mm-hmm. But we knew a 5-home stretch would help us in the long run because we could get a couple that we needed to end the season out on a good note.
So that Millersville game, I talked with Coach Hennessy before, and he said that it was just a bit of a matchup issue in that game. And what are the challenges you guys have to face? Because with the injuries, it's a smaller team, and in a matchup like that.
Yeah. Well, Millersville was tough. I mean, most games are tough. We're very undersized. I mean, we have Taylor Sweeney, I think 6'4", generous, 6'5", generous. I mean, he's guarding 6'11". And our power forward is Tyler Moff, who was our point guard last year. He's 6'1", 6'2". Maybe 6'3", I don't even know. But it's hard. I mean, most matchups are hard. Millersville is a tough matchup. Their starting point guard was 6'4". He's as tall as our center. And it's tough for the rebounding aspect of it because it's hard to get in the paint. They get easy buckets down low because we don't have anyone tall enough to defend them. So it brings different challenges. But I mean, that's the good part about coaching. You got to figure out how to adapt with those kind of things. I mean, injuries are a part of the game. It always happens. And that turns on me and Coach John Hennessy. We got to figure out what to do, which we've kind of helped change some things around, change some defenses, implemented some zones so that our size doesn't necessarily hurt us, it helps us. Especially on the offensive end, in my opinion. We're undersized, but it helps us. Taylor Sweeney's going against the 5, and I trust Taylor to do whatever he can. I mean, he can score the ball against the 5, no problem. So that helps us offensively, but it also can limit us defensively, so you just got to pick and choose your battles.
In Sweeney's case, it helps that he's on the 5 and he can shoot the 3. Exactly. How important has the 3 ball come for this offense to try and pull people out of the paint?
It's good. It's been good. I mean, we're a very good shooting team. We knew we were going to the beginning of the year, but especially with injuries, we don't have any low post presence. So that forces us to shoot more 3s because if you make 3s, 3 counts more than 2. So we can't get down low very easily, but in my opinion, the 3 opens up the lane. I was a shooter in college, and I know most of my teammates and most of the kids that I coach now, they know when their shot is falling, it opens up the paint, it opens up the driving lanes. Now you can get easy buckets down low, all because the 3-pointer's on.
And I think in Monday night's game against Roberts Wesleyan, we saw kind of textbook that. Eli Alvin was able to get into the lane, get that first kick. How important was that to suck everyone back in and then find that open look?
Good, great. I mean, as you can saw, if you watched the game, we ran with that early. We saw it was working. We just kept going at it because they had no adjustment for it. I mean, we were hitting early. Taylor Sweeney hit some threes. Garrett Cook hit some threes. Moff hit a three. Eli hit some threes. So the three spreads the floor. Everyone's not as compact inside, and we just gave the ball to Eli and told him to use your athleticism to your advantage, and he just went right down the lane.
So I joked with Eli after the game on the broadcast. I said, so is he never allowed to wear the headband again? Because the first game without it, he goes off for 17.
We may have to make some adjustments for that, yeah.
But in that game, how did the fact that players like Mike Rell and Eli, who played a lot in this game, Mike played, I think, 10 minutes, and Eli played 2 minutes in the last matchup against this team. How was that kind of unknown factor go in your favor?
It's been good. I mean, I think the past, 4 games? Three games in a row, we've had the same starting lineup. We've started Mike Rell and Eli. Which has helped us. I mean, not a lot of teams saw them. They didn't get a lot of minutes, but they've stepped up to the occasion. I mean, they've definitely played better than we anticipated them playing, which has helped us. When they're aggressive, it makes our offense start rolling. And on the defensive end, it limits us height-wise, but if they're aggressive, it can help us. Eli's a great defender, ball pressure, which really helps us, in our opinion.
So the trial by fire that really these guys have gone in, obviously you never want to see injuries, but when they are, how does that help the development of players who, like Eli and Mike, who weren't playing great minutes or extensive minutes in the early half of the season? How does that help their development?
It's big time, not even only for them, but for the rest of the team. I mean, for your bench, because they have spots and they have opportunities that they normally wouldn't have. And I think that's the biggest part, because practice is one thing, but in games is a whole different thing. And I think with injuries, it sucks for players to go down, but it helps their for their opportunities and helps for them as themselves. Their confidence starts growing, and as you can see, Eli's confidence is through the roof. He had a great game. I mean, 18, I think 7 and 5. 2 career highs for him, and Mike Rell has been very aggressive for us, which has really helped. And his confidence is growing game by game because he's getting more minutes.
And in that game, I talked with some of the players. It's more kind of a conference, like it's not a conference game, but being able to play them twice a year. Did you treat it like it was a conference game in the terms of preparation?
Yeah, we treat every game necessarily kind of the same. I mean, we want to win every single game, and I think playing them twice, it's more of a feel of a conference game, because you scout them once. In conference game, you scout them twice. You scout them, you go back to the film, you watch the film, see what you did wrong, and then you scout them again, going back off of that. So it's more of a feel of a conference game in that sense, because you play them twice. You see them 2 times away and home. But as far as preparing for the team, we prepare pretty much the same way every game. We don't really change things up because it's working for us recently.
So the game did get chippy at some points in the game. What do you guys have to do as coaches if you see something that happens and the game gets chippy? What do you have to do to calm the masses and really get the players focused back on the game after something happened?
It's hard. It's not easy, especially when tempers start flaring, which luckily last night tempers didn't flare that much. It was just a little scuffle, but it's difficult. It's difficult because, I mean, on one hand, the refs are trying to talk to one coach, the other coach has to corral the whole team in a sense, and you just have to give them a speech. You just got to let them know, listen, hey, there was 4 minutes left to go in that game, I'm pretty sure. There's 4 minutes left to go. That's a lot of time to go in the game. If you want to win this game, you have to come together. And sometimes that incident can break you, or it can build your team up to win the game. And luckily, we came together, we stayed together, and we finished that game out strong. But it is tough. It's tough because, especially when tempers start flaring, you never know which way guys are going to go.
And so now let's take a look at this week ahead. Lock Haven, another redemption game you guys hope for in the conference. It was close in the last match. I had a chance to go to it, and it was just, they shot incredibly well in that first game. What are going to be the keys for you guys to get this one?
I think the keys are, we're going to stay the same. I mean, same that we've been this past 4 games at home. I mean, 3 out of the 4 we won, which is very big. I don't think we need to change things up, as the saying goes. If it's not broke, don't fix it. We're going to keep the same things up. Again, they shot very well. I mean, with our defense, we're not big down low. So if they shoot well, sometimes you got to live with it. You got to play defense hard. You got to contest every shot. And sometimes if they make it, they make it. So I think we're going to stay with the same game plan. Be aggressive from the jump ball, and try to get the ball moving on offense. If we get the ball moving on offense and we're aggressive defensively and don't let them do whatever they want, I think we have a good chance of winning that game.
And then looking forward to the weekend, Is there a way, do you think the rhythm breaks at all, the fact that they've had a 5-game homestand, and East Stroudsburg is not a short trip for us? Do you think that's an easy rhythm to get back into, or is that something that you guys are going to have to focus on?
I don't think it's easy. I mean, I don't think the travel is never easy, especially along our trips. I mean, East Stroudsburg's not, 20 minutes down the road. But I think we get a win on Wednesday. I don't think travel's going to really take an effect because we're coming off of 4 out of 5 wins, 4 wins out of 5 games, and that builds a lot of confidence, which we need going into East Stroudsburg. They're a very good team, and we need all the confidence that we can get, and we go in there and get an upset win on their court would be huge for us. So I don't think the travel really has that much to do with it. It can, but I think having 4 wins out of 5 at home can really offset all that, in my opinion.
So then what would be the key to that game this weekend?
The keys, in my opinion, I mean, they're a very upbeat team, very fast paced. If you watch them, they get out, they trap you, they're gonna force you to cause turnovers, they're gonna speed up your pace, and that's something that we can't do. We've been preaching recently, we're not very deep. We don't have very many kids on our bench. We've got to slow the game down. If we can learn how to slow the game down and lose their tempo, slow the tempo down, make it a short possession game, short score game. If the score is in the 60s, it's a lot better than the 90s because they're used to scoring 90, 80, 90 points. So in my opinion, the key to that game is to limit the possessions. Use the clock to your advantage, slow the game down. Don't make it an up and down game because that's what they want. They want you to cause turnovers. They want you to take quick shots. And if we can limit all those things, I think we have a good chance.
And you mentioned the short bench, and I just want to go back to something really quickly. In terms of trying to you want to play aggressive, but you don't want, obviously, you can't afford foul trouble. What are the kind of coaching things you guys have to do to make sure that the aggression is still there and even the risks are still there, but they don't get into foul trouble?
Yeah, that's the tough part. We don't have a deep bench. I mean, you got to limit. Luckily, we have people that we can put in, but we have to also limit their time, how many minutes they play, because we've got a couple kids on our team that play 40 minutes a game, pretty much for the most part. So being aggressive and learning when to be aggressive. You don't need to be aggressive the whole game because by the second half they're going to be gassed. They're not going to be able to play. So bits and pieces, throwing in a press here and there, sagging back, having one person guard the ball full court, so then the rest can get back on defense and have a chance to necessarily breathe. It's a good bunch of mixing it up. You got to mix up your defenses so they're not gassed, when the second half starts, because we don't have a deep bench. So we have to learn how to limit the times that they can really get out.
Well, Seth, thank you so much for stopping by. And Mounties Midweek will roll along right after this. Do not go anywhere.
Part of Mother Nature's perfect blend, the keystone of the Keystone State. Visit Potter Tioga, a 2-county scenic outdoor haven conveniently located, yet worlds apart.
With 10 state parks, 2 federal parks, and over 400,000 acres of state forest land, outdoor recreation certainly does live here. Offering hiking, biking, horseback riding, ATV trails, hunting, snowmobiling, cross-country skiing, and so much more.
Close to many urban areas, but far away from the hustle and bustle, you'll feel like you've found a hidden corner of the East Coast where you can experience world-class, authentic outdoor adventure. Whether it's a family outing, a personal challenge, or even a leisurely walk, it all takes on a new perspective in these spectacular surroundings.
Follow our gurus through the Step Outdoor series at visitpottertioga.com and start planning your adventures today.
In NCAA Division II, student-athletes leave a lasting impression on their communities. That's because Division II student-athletes want to make a difference and truly be part of their surrounding communities. Through community engagement, thousands of student-athletes from various backgrounds interact with community members who view them as role models. This interaction leaves a positive and perhaps even life-changing impression on all those involved. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference.
Oh, what a play!
18 universities.
How competitive is this?
23 championships.
It's over. We have new PSAC champs.
7,100 student athletes. Make the PSAC yours.
My PSAC is passion.
My PSAC is pride.
PSAC is Pennsylvania.
Passion, pride, Pennsylvania. The Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference.
The American dream to me as an immigrant means having the opportunities that my parents didn't have. Being the first one in my family to graduate, it meant everything my parents sacrificed for me to get to this point. It was paying off.
Estoy muy orgulloso de Michael por haberse graduado de colegio.
My path to a college degree would have been completely different had I not had a scholarship. It just relieved a lot of the financial burden.
It's a small community, close-knit, it's beautiful. Now, as we join UPMC, it just opens a whole new world.
Together, UPMC and Susquehanna Health are bringing life-changing medicine to north central Pennsylvania.
UPMC brings extraordinary innovation to virtually every aspect of the work we do.
Exchanging ideas, sharing research, it's a tremendous opportunity to learn in real time with world-class experts.
Changing lives every day. UPMC.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can, and then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play and learn. But most importantly, we're here to discover ourselves. Our vision, our heart, our drive to achieve every goal we aim for, because we want to be champions at the highest level, life. At Division II, the opportunities are here. Are you ready?
It is now time for Play of the Week. But before we get to this week, let's start with last week. And it was a battle between Ellie Thompson and Taylor Sweeney. And based on your votes, the game-winning shot from Taylor Sweeney was your winner.
Tyler Moff pushes Rell into the corner. Driving through. Alvin to Sweeney. He will shoot the three. Taylor Sweeney hits the big bucket.
This week, we move to a bit of a new format and have 3 plays. Our first one comes from track and field, and Kenzie Jones getting the PSAC qualifying time, finishing in the mile with a time of 5 minutes, 12 seconds. Play number 2 comes from the women's game against Millersville. The pass goes in to Mia Leonard, who does this.
Hatch has to book it across. Over to Whitfield, looking underneath for Leonard, off the glass and in, and she will head to the line, Mia Leonard.
And our final play comes from Monday night as Mansfield hosted Roberts Wesleyan, and Eli Alvin was taking on 4 defenders.
And it will not go, but he got the rebound.
Own rebound. 4-on-1.
And again!
Wow.
To vote for which play you believe is the best, head over to Mountie All Access on Twitter and vote. That's all we have for you here this week, folks. To stay up to date on all things Mansfield athletics, head over to GoMounties.com. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next week.